Good evening, and welcome to Now That's Entertainment. I'm your host, Michael Morissette. You might be wondering why I'm standing next to this fabulous piano. Well, that's because our guest tonight is fabulous in his own right. A pianist, a showman, international entertainer, and also the winner of the Liberace Showmanship Award in Las Vegas, and that's just for starters. Maria Cristina Mena once said, "The piano keys are black and white, but they sound like a million colors in your mind." Tonight, you'll see and hear what she meant with a colorful palette of music by the velvet piano player himself. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the phenomenal John England. John England, thank you so much for being on
Thank
Now
you,
That's
Mike.
Entertainment.
Thanks for having me.
This is a total delight to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
And that was really a beautiful but yet fun medley that you played.
Sure.
I recognize a couple of them, Chopin
Right.
and Grieg, I think.
Yeah, a little Grieg and Chopin. I can't quite remember. And then I made some stuff up in the middle.
I know you composed a lot of some of your materials. So
Sure.
great.
I mean, it's nice to rely on the famous music. That's what people love more than
yes.
anything. But be throwing a little bit of fun of your own. It's
Sure.
nice along the way.
Now, before we chat a little about all your numerous appearances, I just think it's a tremendous honor that you won the Liberace Showmanship Award.
That was fun.
Tell us about that, because I just think that's just fabulous.
Well, I've been a fan of his ever since my mum and dad used to watch him on the TV, and just his flamboyance. And for me, the music was really special. A lot of people don't rate him on the playing. He was fabulous. And then when I grew up, like last week, I actually had the opportunity to go out there, and some folks told me about this competition to just display as much showmanship as he had done on the piano. And I did my best. I put together a little medley, and I played, and I ended up with the prize, which is really very nice.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And the trophy must have been as ostentatious as Liberace
Well,
himself, I would think.
it was quite modest. I think they
Oh,
keep the real diamonds in the in the safe, but it was just nice to have been.
And
part
people
of it.
forget that he was such a great pianist. In addition to being a showman,
Sure.
he was a great pianist and entertainer.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I think the music was really a vehicle for him to connect with the audience, because you can be brilliant and show off, but the thing that people really like is being welcomed connected somehow with a connection with the performer.
Right.
And that's what I enjoyed of his, and that's what I try and portray on stage as well.
Great. No, that is, again, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's great.
Thank
Now,
you.
what did you play to win that award that day? I mean,
I put together a collection. Well, to begin with, I listened to a lot of his recordings and
Mm-hmm.
worked out which were the biggest hits, and Rhapsody in Blue was one. He also played a lot of Viennese waltzes, especially during his time in Las Vegas when he would dress up as Louis XV and do all that sort of stuff. So I played.
wow.
You want to hear the
Yeah,
sort of
I'd
thing?
love to hear that.
Okay,
That'd
well,
be great.
I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, okay, here we go.
oh, wonderful.
Well, thank you.
I love
That wasn't a Viennese waltz,
No,
but that was another one that he used to be asked for. And Nola, it's an old-fashioned favorite.
Oh. Now, I think we have a clip of you playing like a boogie-woogie style that he played.
Well, the Viennese waltz and the thing really got the judges going, but then there was
Right.
a sort of face-off, and they said, well, what else have you got that could really, help us decide? And I think it was this next piece that you're going to see on the clip. It was a Liberace favorite called Boogie Woogie, and he got the audience involved, and I put together my own rendition of it. I hope you enjoy it.
Great. Oh.
Come on, hit me, guys.
And that was a fantastic clip. So much fun.
Thank you. It's great to do something when the audience really.
Well, I was just going to say that because it shows the entertainer that you are, because one, you're such a great pianist, but you're also engaging the audience and a lot of interactive.
Well, when you learn, some musicians would prefer to play in a garret and compose and never have contact. And I just love being in front of an audience. You can't guess.
You need to perk up the outfit a little bit.
Sure. You mean wear something eye-catching instead, yeah.
Now, you also, was that the full band backing you?
The band were playing, but I actually travel with my own orchestra in a box. I make up all the instrumentation myself, the drums, the bass, the strings, the saxophones, and all the rest of it. And then if there isn't a band, or if the band is maybe an accordionist and a maraca player, and I need a little more than that.
Which you wouldn't mind.
That's right. No. Then I take that
Nothing
with
against accordionists.
No, that's right. Lovely combination. But, but when you want a full sort of symphony piece for, say, Rhapsody in Blue or Boogie Woogie, something like that, you want a full meaty lineup to complement the sound.
Travel with everything in a suitcase type of thing.
That's right. Except for the piano.
Except for the piano, right.
Although that can come with me too, if the engagement is right.
Now, you've also been on some cruise ships and really luxurious lines, like the QE2.
Right.
And you headline with major celebrities as well.
Well, it's been a fabulous ride. I mean, learning to play and getting to do your stuff is quite something. But when you get on either a luxury cruise line, as you say, or a nice concert hall, and there's a real big star there, you can learn a lot. And every minute that I'm not playing, I'm watching somebody else to see if there's an extra dimension I can bring to a performance.
You always learn something.
Yeah. Always. I mean, I've sat at the side of the stage with the Glenn Miller Orchestra. I've watched Bill Cosby tell jokes for an hour and not even break a sweat. I've watched Vic Damone do a whispering concert performance that had everybody on the edge of their seat. And you can always learn from somebody how they come across with their stagecraft. So I've been a sponge ever since I started to do this.
Great. Now, your repertoire is so varied. You can go from New York to Stardust to the theme from Downton Abbey.
Right.
So you have a wide, varied repertoire to appeal to all types of
Well, when I first started, I was playing in a cocktail lounge where people would come up and say, like Humphrey Bogart, well, can you play this? Can you play that? And if I didn't know it by the next day, I had to learn it. So I would go and ask somebody from the band, can you play this? Because I can't read music. So they would play it either on a clarinet or on a piano or a guitar or something. Then I'd go away and work at it, and I never forget one of the first pieces that I really loved was, and I thought it was beyond me because I'd heard it, but it was rather complex. And then this guy played it and sang it, and I worked through it. It was Laura, a beautiful piece. And it's just the way it flowed and the fact, and I played it the next night, and this chap's wife and he were very pleased about it. So it was super. And then there's that.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That other, as I mentioned, Humphrey Bogart. The old. Beautiful music and lovely tunes.
Yeah. I think we have a picture of you in different venues.
One on the
There's
bottom,
young John England.
That's right. The one on the bottom left was actually in a Russian palace.
Oh, wow.
I was playing on a cruise line, and they were overnighting in Petersburg for 2 nights, and we went on this tour, and it opened up in this beautiful ballroom, and there was this, it seemed like a 20-foot long Bosendorfer grand piano, so I just had to sit down and have a little play on that.
That is great. And then you're on the cruise ship over there on the right.
On the right-hand side, that was in Sydney, Australia, on the QE2.
On the QE2.
Yeah. And one of the perks is when you're not playing, if you're a member of the inside track, you get to go on all these tours. And they asked me to take this tour of people around Sydney, so that was great.
And look at that set. I mean, that set is just spectacular with the grand piano and the upright in your very own style.
Absolutely.
I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, well, when I first started putting my show together, I realized that you had to be more than just somebody who could play an instrument, but entertain and visually be appealing. Exactly. And so that's kind of the set I dreamed about ever since I watched the Eddie Duchin story. And, up on there with the beautiful curtains and the grand piano. And I made that white grand piano to go along with the black one to give a sort of honky-tonk saloon feel, and I can switch the voices on it and make it sound really fun.
You started out in your native Great Britain.
That's right, yeah.
And in London's West End, and
sure.
You were on the BBC.
That's right.
Was it a radio show?
That was a radio show, and it was a reprise of something that had been done in the 50s. This famous Hungarian immigrant to Britain who was a concertmeister would sit on the radio. Apparently he would dress in tails even on the radio. but people would call in for a request, and he and the orchestra would play this stuff, and it was enormously popular, ran for absolutely ages. And then I got the idea to reprise it in the 1990s and contacted the BBC, and they said, this would be wonderful. So, but they didn't really know me, so I came in and for half an hour on this first night with this well-established host, I did this set where people would call in. Well, within a matter of weeks, it was a full 3-hour evening, and then it was every week, and it turned out to be a pretty hot item. Wow. So, but I was kept on my mettle. People would ring up, and there would be the occasional troublemaker who knew that he was asking for a clever one. So, but nonetheless, you get round those kind of things.
Sure. And from London, we're going to go, you took a journey to Carolina Opry.
That's right. Yeah, that's.
How did that happen? I mean, I know there's a lot in between. But
sure.
From London to, that's a kind of an interesting journey.
Well, my beautiful young lady who came to be my wife was the main draw. She was from the New England area, and once we'd met and romanced, and she said, "Why not come on over? There's a lot of opportunity here." So that's what I did. I'm very glad to do so. So, and then we came over, and I joined her in Boston, and then we were looking for warmer climes, moved down to the Carolinas, where this fabulous show heard that I was around, and I went and played for them, and they said, great, let's see, you're certainly a strange fit for our music, but if you can talk like that and play like that, come on in. So that led to a lot of great fun, and a lot of great fun with audiences and interacting with them.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate interaction with,
sure.
With an audience, there, with that type of audience.
Well, being as where I'm from, and it was sort of in the pretty much in the south, there was a bit of sort of rivalry and distance there because of our colonial past. But I got over that by exploiting my Englishness.
And I think we have a clip of you at the Opry.
Sure. Yeah, well, one of the things, because the director said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'll just test out the audience and find out what they like and how to go. And they said, what do you do? I said, well, just leave it to me. Well, watch the clip. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Can we do it again just a bit louder this time? Let me hear you now. Everybody, come on. You make me. How about you clap along as well? Big finish now. Great stuff. Give yourself a hand. You did good. Great.
That must have been such a fun audience to perform for.
Absolutely. Any connection where they'll actually sing along with you, it's a kind of way of saying, we accept. Yeah. You're okay. You'll do.
Yeah, that seemed like a really good time there. Now, I know there's some people in our audience that probably have never heard of Liberace, some of the younger people in the audience.
Sure.
Just as a modern era pianist, who would you compare stylings to?
I don't know that there's a big piano player at the moment, but Yanni had some success a little while ago, and Jim Brickman is certainly part of the modern music scene, and George Winston with the new age stuff. And
exactly.
Maybe it's turning to singer-songwriters of the 70s are now the piano songwriters and tunesmiths of today. So composing plays a big part in connecting with audiences, I think.
And you do, like we had talked about at the beginning of the show, some of your own
sure, that's
compositions
right. Yeah.
too.
Would you like to hear something?
I'd love to.
All right.
Flowing, calming, haunting, beautiful piece.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
I like it.
Now, do you take requests?
Sure, absolutely, if I know it.
I love classical music, so I thought maybe we could end with a classical piece, and then I know you're going
Absolutely.
to play an Americana medley.
Sure, absolutely.
So I think we'll let everyone out in there, the public, enjoy a little classical and a little Americana.
Well, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. is like a piano. What you get out of it depends on how you play it. That couldn't be more true than the sounds we heard from our special guest tonight, John England. My name is Michael Morissette. See you next time on Now That's Entertainment.